There's a forever struggle between chaos and order in our universe, and it's happening all around us. Each battling for control and wielding it for what could only be described as the briefest of moments before the other gains the upper hand. Take something as simple as our solar system, for example. After extensive research, two scientists at MIT recently announced that the entire solar system as we know it is inherently unpredictable. Basically, without an infinitely precise knowledge of the location and velocity of the planets at any given moment, our Newtonian calculations will be completely wrong after a mere 4 million years. Even organic life as we know it exhibits long periods of stasis and mass extinctions between bursts of evolution and growth. If there was no asteroid impact that wiped out the dinosaurs all those thousands of years ago, humanity would have most likely followed a different evolutionary path. Now before we continue, I'd like you all to know I make new videos every week on Sundays, so please leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting content. So you're probably asking yourself, what does any of this have to do with a possible dystopian or utopian future for the human race? It's simple really. Chaos and order are the source of the ideas which dystopias and utopias represent. A utopia is what most would regard as a paradise. A place where the right balance of the social, governmental, and religious systems exist and are maintained, also known as the representation of absolute order from a societal context. While a dystopia is basically the opposite, where everything is imbalanced, violent, unruly, and finally, chaotic. So will the world end up leaning towards a dystopian path or some kind of nirvana? This is more a philosophical question than a scientific one. If you were to go outside today and ask 100 different people if they imagine the world becoming a dystopia or a utopia in the future, you're likely to get a fair amount of support on both sides. This is because, besides the fact no one can actually predict the future, we often project our own subconscious bias whenever we interact with the world around us. So I guess we're stuck with philosophy then. Since the dawn of time, people have imagined a perfect world, and their desire for something better promoted progress. This drive advanced and evolved society onto the point we find ourselves today. Yet, despite our advancements, the world is still filled with violence, hate, poverty, and general discontent. The technologies we have developed have been either twisted or purpose-built to cause pain or violence. The Manhattan Project, for example, saw a state-sanctioned assembly of some of the greatest minds science could offer, at least in the Western Hemisphere. And what was its purpose? To build a bomb. And not long after its creation, that bomb was used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki when Japan refused to surrender during World War II. In his declaration to the Japanese people upon the topic of surrender, Emperor Hirohito stated, and I quote, "The enemy now possesses a new and terrible weapon with the power to destroy many innocent lives and do incalculable damage. Should we continue to fight, not only would it result in an ultimate collapse and obliteration of the Japanese nation, but also it will lead to the total extinction of human civilization." Today, Japan is one of the leading nations as regards advances in technology. Owing to their high quality of living, they have the highest life expectancy in the world. Also, having less than 2 gun-related deaths per year, they are one of the safest and least violent countries globally. Although not absolute, I consider this to be a picture of a utopia, and it was born from a single choice. Japan as we know it today may have been wiped off the face of the earth if they chose to continue the path of war all those years ago. What this tells us is our future, or the future of human society to a large extent, is dependent on the decisions we make today. But it's not as simple as making the right decisions at every turn. Chaos will not have it so. Sometimes, the decisions we take might even be made with the best of intentions, and yet would still lead to the worst of results. Werner von Braun had a passion for astronomy, and dreamed of building rockets for space travel, but his ideas were used to develop the V-2 rocket, and later, intercontinental ballistic missiles for the US. The internet, initially intended to bring the world together, is a leading cause of depression and social isolation for many people today. In the near future, machines will likely take jobs from low to middle-skilled individuals, leaving them feeling like societal outcasts, even though the initial idea was to give them more time to live their best lives. Bottom line is, even if an idea, technology, or action is carried out for good initially, there is always a chance that it will end up causing the wrong results. After all, even the universe exists in a constant state of struggle between chaos and order. Yeah, that kinda sounds hopeless. Knowing that society is inevitably headed for chaos one way or the other, but I don't think it necessarily is. Just like how the sun unfailingly lights up our day after a long night, we can choose to consciously make the right decisions, keeping the chaos at bay. Greed, violence, envy, and the other 4 deadly sins are all things we can actively control by consciously doing good and course correcting whenever we go astray. I believe by doing so, we will be well on our way towards creating a utopia which a species of our capacity deserves.